Good morning. Good morning, everyone. This is the Town of Munster Show, and my name is David Nellens, and we're here on WJOB 1230 AM and 104.7 FM. And I do have guests today. I always have been excited about having guests. We used to do the show just with myself and Councilman Simonetto, but this is really good. We have Deputy Chief for the Munster Police Department, Damon Johnston, is here this morning. We have Craig Corey.
Good morning.
And he's with the Town of Munster Police Department. And we have Rob Bradford, who wears two hats. Good morning, Rob. He is involved with the IT at the school town, but he's primarily involved with the IT for the Town of Munster. And that's going to be the main part of our talk today at the show. This is going to be very interesting. So I'm very happy with our guests. It is going to be very good, very good. I wanted to bring up a few announcements from the news you can use. And one of the first ones that comes up on the front page is Bridges Over Ditches Project. And this is something that's been in the works for over 20 years. And it was when I first started on the council, we talked about this. And this is putting a bridge on the bike path between the town of Munster and the town of Highland. And this is going to be fabulous because you'll be able to go all through Munster on the bike path and then go on this bridge and go into Highland and go on down to Griffith, and it goes Cherville and on down to Crown Point eventually. So that's going to be
a much safer connection between our communities.
Yes, it's going to help a lot. And I'm also excited about reading this, that this project is made possible through a Transportation Enhancement Award from the state of Indiana, which they're going to cover 80% of the cost, and there'll be a remainder of 20% that Munster and Highland will split 50-50. That's exciting.
That's good. That's excellent.
That's a great project, and it's going to be funded that way. Sometimes it's the other way around, where you're lucky if it's 50-50, or if they even give you 20% and you got to put in the 80. So this is a very good thing. Through the Clerk Treasurer's Office and the Chamber of Commerce, they're going to be promoting Saturday, November 29th, as Small Business Saturday, in which we'd like to have the residents patronize our small businesses in town and to help them. They're looking for business, and also it's a good thing to help support your community. You know, it's the bricks and mortar, and if you want to have those around, you have to support them. And the holiday season is coming up, and for the holiday season, there's a program going on, and this is with the Choice Community Council Group and the Munster Civic Foundation. They're sponsoring Christmas trees that are going to be on the town hall, on the property there, about by the that column that sits out there in front of the main
the obelisk.
The obelisk. There we go. The obelisk. And it's set up that it's for individuals, groups, anyone that would like to sponsor it. There's a limit of 30 trees, and the way it works is there's a $100 fee that is actually going to go to the cops and kids. And you'll be provided with a 4-foot tree, and it'll come with lights that'll be provided and the power to run it. And then there'll be awards presented in the December. 3 awards will be presented mid-December for these trees. So I wanted to point that out. There's leaf collection is going to be starting here, and it's going to be figured it's about once every 2 weeks. And they want the leaves on the property. You cannot put them out in the street because what happens is they block the storm drains, and then it floods up with water. And, you know, people say, I can't go through because there's water on the street. Well, it's the leaves that clogged it up. And if you have a street drain near your house, please take your rake and pull the leaves back off the grate. It will help the water go down, and you'll be a lot happier with that. So, again, you cannot put your leaves in the garbage cans. It's against the rules to have your leaves go to the landfill. And do not put them in paper bags because the garbage service will not pick up those paper bags, and also the town will not empty them out to vacuum them up. So please just windrow your leaves along the edge of your property, not in the street. On the news you can use, there's a strategic communications section, and we'd like to have you fill it out. We're entered into a contract with Strategic Communications to set up and develop through American Structure Point, develop how communication comes to you, and we'd like to know how you want to receive it. And we'll have that opportunity, but it's available off the internet with our news you can use. And then I'll close with this one. On November 18th from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m., and this is in your news you can use, there's coffee with the council. And we're inviting everyone to come in from the town that would like to come in and find out about the boards and commissions and what's going on in town, ask questions, and come in and enjoy a cup of coffee. So this is something that's kind of new. Other communities run something similar to this, but this will be the first time for Munster. So with that, that concludes the announcements. And I'd like to turn over here and let's talk about this school partnership with the IT. And we have Rob here, Rob Bradford, who's been specifically hired to be involved with this. And I'll make a leading comment. We've had other agencies come in and help us and do things with IT. And right off the bat, I'm going to say this is not costing us less. We're spending the same amount of money that we did spend on IT, but we're getting far more value. We're getting far more hours. We're getting far more quality of skill. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Rob. Now that I've got you on cloud nine, you got to have a magic pixie dust bag. So, Rob, how does this work? What's going on, and why is this important?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Thanks. First, I'd like to thank the town for trusting us to come in and create this partnership, really for the betterment of the community. Because I think at its core, definitely at the core, we serve the same community, and we're stronger together as a result of that. IT operations is definitely the highlight there. So the benefits to us really come down to collective purchases. If we purchase 4,000 devices for the school district, town needs 100 devices, we can actually combine those purchases.
So then we're buying 4,100 as opposed to the town just buying 100 and saying, hey, we want a good deal.
Yeah, as an example, they if we go to vendor X, they're going to say, wow, this group purchases a substantial amount for us, so we can actually take those benefits and go ahead and trickle down to the town, over to the town for that. So what we look like, so we had 2 new hires for this, myself included, been there a couple of months, and we are dedicated to the town. Now, that said, the town or the school district has roughly, we're looking at 7 to 14 other people, so that in an emergency, we can actually shift over and increase our manpower for the town, and then vice versa. Myself and Ryan for the town, we can go ahead and shift over to the school district as needed. But sharing of resources, better purchasing power, and really 24/7 support that is a premium if you kind of go anywhere else. And we know the community serving that common goal.
Now, to your knowledge, how many other communities are doing this?
Yeah, so
in the state of Indiana here.
That's a great question. To my knowledge, we are the first within Indiana. Now, looking at how Indiana, from a state perspective, even the federal government or regulatory perspective, they kind of view school districts and municipalities similarly. We've always been in the same meetings, whether it's talking about threat intelligence of a bad actor or the state has partnered with vendor X to get a better amount. So we've always been the same at that level. It's really at the local level do we find that there are those separations. But the state's very interested in seeing where we're going. We've gotten calls from other towns and municipalities and even school districts, not only asking how did we make this happen and tell us they're looking forward to our success, But usually those conversations end with, oh, and by the way, we're having this issue. Can you help? So
Sure.
we're helping not only Munster, but also showcasing this for other entities in our area.
Well, I think it's fabulous. I was definitely a supporter of this, and I think when you get the opportunity, we've worked on other things with the town, the police department put in fiber through the town of Munster, and the schools were invited to participate and to be able to, run out whatever it's called. That's over my head, but this fiber in a junction box, and you got a switch there where you got communication coming back and forth, so that we have that happening, and it's a great partnership. We talked about to really what value, Deputy Chief here,
Yes.
is it to have IT all connected, and what are you doing with it? You got all this fiber in your office, or what's happening?
So I'll tell you that we've worked with the school quite a bit over the years, and we have a great relationship. I can't stress how important that relationship is between the police department and the schools and the town and the schools, because they're definitely a very important part of our community, because everybody knows how good our schools are, and we have to support them, because if something happens to them, we're going to struggle as a community, just like
Absolutely, and you want the schools to be safe.
Yeah.
And interaction, there's been a good interaction with the schools and the police department,
And I'll say that their skill sets in technology really helps us. So we obviously, as a police department, we utilize a lot of new technology, and we purchase a lot of new technology, and it's going to be real exciting in the next couple of years as we implement all this great new technology. And we couldn't have done it without the school's partnership, this IT, because we didn't previously have the structure or the infrastructure set up for these new technologies, and they've really improved all of our services, including our basic service, just getting help when we need it. We didn't have that previously in the manner that we needed it, and they came in and they certainly helped us. And this partnership we've been working on for many years, and it's exciting to see it come to fruition here recently, and I can't stress enough how important that is. And it's been great, and we have some really cool technology coming in, and the help of, so this is Craig, he's our accreditation manager and IT specialist for the police department. Him working with the schools, it's going to be really exciting to see what neat things we can do with this technology, and make people safer, and make our officers safer, and our community safer.
And you've spread out now. I believe you were talking about that you have additional cameras, and we're going to have more cameras. And again, with Craig, Craig's full time with the police department, full time, and he's added a lot, both with accreditation, and we're going to talk about that in just a little bit, and with also the IT, and now having Rob and the school town bringing their knowledge and bringing all this together. I don't know. This almost sounds explosive to me. All this IT, and it's just going to be spreading out.
Yeah, the joining of the forces of all the equipment and everything that we currently had and what we're going to do in the future, it's just great having both sides working together to expand this whole thing, because it benefits not only them, but it benefits the police, the town as a whole. So everybody's going to get a win out of this at the end.
And again, the equipment, you have to update the equipment, because what we're buying today is actually probably obsolete, and there's new stuff coming down the pike that we're going to have, and we need to have it, because we want our officers to have the best tools.
Correct.
So that they can find out what's going on at their fingertips. They type in your license plate number, and bam, there's this whole list of things you've done wrong, and you're a bad person.
Correct.
Or a good person. But again, it's important to do that.
Yeah. And that's been the fuel of a lot of the initiatives that we've co-created together. It's not just about the technology working, the infrastructure working, right? So that doesn't mean it's future ready, and that's something that I think it's lost on a lot of IT people. Even is, if it works, we're just going to head and leave it alone. But sure, but there are security vulnerabilities out there. If a computer takes X amount of minutes to boot, there's now a gap between the problem and the resolution, and we really need to work on that together. So that's the reason I think a lot of these new technologies are coming out, not just new and emerging things to better equip our personnel, but to also maintain security of it.
Absolutely. And Rob, you mentioned something there about keeping the computers and takes time to boot up. correct me if I'm wrong, but most of our patrol cars remain running for the entire shift
Correct.
because keep the computer up. And some of those may have canines in them too. They need to have the air
Correct.
conditioning.
Correct.
But again, it's important to keep those computers up because you don't want that boot up time because you can't get information when that's happening.
And fortunately for us, at the police department level, we were able to implement all brand new devices this year in our squad car due to a federal grant. So that was a huge win for us. So every squad car and every officer now that they have take-homes has their own personal laptop, and it's all brand new equipment.
Wow, that's a real important thing that
Correct.
that was a grant, federal grant, and bought all that equipment. I mean, that's what I guess you fellas do is you also look where to apply for grants, where can you get money, as on the bridges to over ditches. You know, it's important to. It helps us with the limited amount of money that we get from the residents and the tax and the state and all this other stuff. If we can get grants, it just expands what we can do with the money that we have. And that grant, it makes all the difference in the world.
And by sharing these resources with the school, they're able to leverage some things that we couldn't, and now we can leverage things that they couldn't previously. So working together, there's a lot of great opportunities out there, and it's exciting to see what will come in the future because of this partnership.
Well, I sure hope that we can set this up where we are like the leader in the state and that we've got the first pilot here. And I think it makes a lot of sense because the schools have to have IT with all the students and everything that's going on and the training and now, you know, e-learning at home. They didn't have that when I was going to school. You know, I had to walk uphill both ways, and I had to walk in the snow when it was 6, 8, 10 inches deep. And I didn't have a computer. I didn't even know what a computer was. You know, the big thing at Purdue was the slide rule. You know, that's how you multiply everything out, and you had to buy this little Texas Instrument kind of calculator. They were expensive, but things have changed. Craig, now you also mentioned accreditation. I'm going to kind of jump in there too and mix that in here because
Sure.
Tell us about accreditation. What does that mean and
So
why?
we're part of the CLIA, which is the Commission of Accreditation for Law Enforcement. So it's a voluntary program to get in, but it's a CLIA sets, it's international. They set so many standards that police departments have to follow. You have to show records of how you keep your training, your internal reporting. So they set requirements for us to follow. Every year, CLIA will come in and audit you randomly on certain standards every single year. So for our cycle, it's a 4-year cycle. So every year we get audited. And then on the 4th year, they do a double. So they'll do an online assessment, and then they actually come out to our department. So my first time was just this year. They came out and did both. Fortunately, we passed. So we are now reaccredited for 4 more years. But it's a voluntary program, but the nice part about it, it's when you get audited, it's an independent party coming in and looking at all your records. So now you know you have somebody who's coming in with the non-biased view to look and say, hey, this is exactly what you're supposed to be doing.
So this is a accreditation. It's reviewing and making sure that you are doing with what your peers do.
Correct, yeah, and it's basically they're making sure that we follow the policies and procedures that we tell everybody that we are doing. So they want to make sure everything that we say we do. Our reports are documented right, and everything is correct.
So, Rob, give us an example of something that we do a policy that says we do this, and how is that reviewed, and how do you confirm that?
So the big ones now are like use of force and pursuits. Every time there's an issue with one of them or an incident with one of them, you have reports you have to document. You have videos you have to go with it. You have review processes to make sure that we were in compliance and so forth by state law and our department rules. So we have to show records for every part of that process along the way that we did everything that we were supposed to do by the book. And if something was found in non-compliance, how did we correct that problem to make sure it doesn't keep happening? CLIA then comes in every year and will make sure we're actually doing everything accordingly by how we say we are.
Craig's very humble. I was a creation manager before Craig, and he's done by far a better job than I have. But I can't stress how important it is for this position in our police department and how it makes us, all these professional standards are important to make our police department what we are. And it's a lot of work by Craig to do this. And it's the forefront of law enforcement. So we're at the cutting edge of policies and and procedures and things that we should be doing to help serve our citizens, and Craig's the one who keeps us on task. So
That's great. We're going
important
to just take a moment here to let the folks know that you're listening to WJOB 1230 AM and 104.7 FM. This is the Town of Munster Show. I'm David Nellens. I'm one of the councilmen here in the Town of Munster. And we have Deputy Chief Damon Johnston here. We have Rob Bradford here, who's handling the IT both for the Town of Munster and involved with the schools, but mostly the Town of Munster. And we have Craig Corey, who's handling and handles the accreditation and IT things. And we're talking about CALIA. So we can go back to that. Now, so, all right, we did all this. We had all the CALIA come over here, and they asked me questions. And they wanted to know if I really saw the officers eating donuts. And I said, no, we didn't. But then I, winked a little bit. But anyway, so at the end of the day, when everything is said and done, what was said? How did Munster fare on this evaluation?
It was my first time going through the process, but I thought we did pretty well. Even the commissioners, when we went to Arkansas for our hearing, actually made a comment that we did well. We had 0 issues out of a 4-year cycle that I continued on when I hired in, which is great. 0 is fantastic in our world.
He's being humble. He did an outstanding job, and they told him as such at the conference. He's a very humble person, so he did a great job.
And something to add to that as well. So I came from a cybersecurity background before coming to the town and school, and the big thing with that is who can give an objective look at what you have. There's just no question. You're going to partner with someone. Your hospital, you need to have a HIPAA certification. Banks, PCI. Federal has their own item. So I was floored to hear about CALIA just coming here a few months ago, that it's a voluntary thing.
Correct.
But it still gives that objective look, because I think in the business world, that objective look is mandatory. And here it's an opt-in, and you still did great, which is wonderful.
Well, we want the citizens to know that we have a first-class police department. And how else do you do that except having some way you get accredited? The schools get accredited. They've got the state comes in, or maybe even higher, broadening. CALIA covers all the United States.
Yep.
And Mexico.
Correct. And some of the islands.
And some of the islands. I heard that. And see, our deputy chief here goes out and does surveys.
I don't get to go to Hawaii or the islands. So
who gets to go there? Higher level.
People with more experience than I do.
And what's fortunate for us is we're one of 3 agencies in this region that's accredited too. So, I mean, you have us in Cherville and Valparaiso. So that's a big accolade for us in Northwest Indiana, because most of the agencies that are accredited are Indianapolis-based or further south. So you start heading this area, there's only a couple of us that actually do this voluntarily every year.
So we're cutting edge. Were we one of the first organizations here, police force in Northwest Indiana, to get accredited?
In Northwest Indiana, yes.
Correct.
And we now are one of the first to have the IT connection with the school town.
We believe so, yes.
So I think that's a win-win. And IT is growing and growing. I didn't talk about this before, but how much AI do we get involved with, or is that on the horizon?
The police department is scratching the surface of AI right now. So we're implementing it as we speak, and it's exciting to see how that's going to go. It's new for everybody. So
we're taking on a bunch of new AI projects.
So I don't know. Rob's kind of got a look in his eye about this AI.
Oh, well, again, kind of going back to my cybersecurity background, AI is the big buzzword. You love it, hate it, or it's just some nebulous thing that you don't quite understand yet. It is the future of, and actually I would say it's even right now. And from the IT perspective, again, going back to the cybersecurity perspective, there are a lot of jobs that are going to be automated with IT, and that's a bigger topic. But when I look at IT, or when I look at AI, someone once told me, if you want to know about AI, imagine you had 100 interns, 1,000 interns. What would you want them to do? And that really has me take a different look on AI, where I look at it as, where can I save time so I can have people in the field, I can have my people focusing on their highest and best use and what I need them focused on. And that's why, at least on the IT side, we're very welcoming of AI. On the education side, a lot more conversations need to happen, of course, just to make sure that that's integrated. But it's exciting.
It's exciting, but it's also scary. That's over my head.
I will say that how we're going to use it is a very professional way to use it, and it's safe, and it's more of like transcribing what's being said on a body cam and briefing that stuff. It's not your final product, but it gives you an idea of what's going on. And it also helps us translate. It'll help us, body cams will help us translate up to, I think it's up to 52 foreign languages they're up to now. So the technology is exciting with AI, and we'll see how it goes.
Well, and again, you fellas are sitting in the catbird seat because they're going to need you no matter what. AI can do everything, but someone's got to get in there and make the adjustments or make the tweak or have the system or whatever it takes to have it happen. Am I right?
No. There's always somebody behind the scene that's got to do a little bit of legwork to make it work for everybody else.
Yeah, there is. And that's why when you partner with vendors for AI, you want to make sure that they have that objective look and that they have those certifications to back up how they protect their data, just to make sure that it is our data used appropriately.
There we go. I wanted to talk a little bit about the street cameras. I kind of touched on it. What can you bring us up? We got about a few minutes here.
So right now we're current with obviously going into the school. We already had current cameras in place, but because of the partnership now with the school with fiber and so forth, we're able to add more. So this year we've added a tremendous amount of new cameras around town, which are great for intersections, for accidents and so forth. The goal is to keep adding more and more cameras to better our inside so we can see everything going on in case something does happen. But right now we've probably put in almost 15 to 20 new cameras just this summer alone. The goal is to put another 20 to 30 in next year to help give us more eyes in the sky.
Sure, absolutely. Now, is there someone that watches these cameras all the time?
Officers and everybody in the station does have access to cameras. They record 24 hours a day, so if somebody doesn't happen to be at the control at the time, they can go back and review. When I'm usually working, I always have the cameras open like most people do, but it's nice to have somebody there to keep an eye on it. And if something happens, they're not there, they can't access it. But there is always a way to access our cameras for our officers.
Now, how long or how much time do you keep in storage?
Ideally, we're at 30 to 45, but in real world, we would love to have a lot more. So that's, as more cameras come, more space will have to be going with that in order to keep it longer.
Now, that was 30 to
45 days.
Days. Oh, I was thinking
days.
minutes. Bam, you got to grab it right away. Yeah. Now, is that all digital?
Yes.
So it's not on 8 tracks?
Nope.
Or CDs or anything like that?
And then we can access that and always download it at any time.
Now, do I recall right that the police department can also see the cameras in the schools?
We're working on that.
Working on that, because I know we've talked about that in the situation of an active shooter as to whether you have eyes within the building to see what's happening.
Yeah, we're working in a partnership and how that's going to work. And I think we'll have that in the near future here. We do have some people who do have access now, but it's very limited. But we're going to figure it out, and there's
that
ways
out. So
in the software.
But again, that's important for the residents. That's important for our community,
Correct.
The students. We want to make sure that we're prepared.
Obviously, our school resources have full access, and they're always working with that.
And I think that's a great program too, to have the resource officers in the schools to be able to help and make things happen. Well, we're probably at a point that we're going to need to have a bit of a wrap up. So I'm going to look to Rob here to give us some information, since he's coming in and going to help us a lot. This is not like the joke that says, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you. Yeah, people go running. But Rob, what do you got up in your briefcase to help us with?
Yeah. I think the question I get asked the most is, what can we do? So if we're a school district, for a municipality, if we want to bridge that gap between problem and resolution, what do we do? I would say, first off, know your peers and have that relationship. Because especially with the police department, because if there's an emergency in the town, only then are you going to start collaborating. So you need to start collaborating beforehand. Sweat more in training so you can hurt less when the conflict occurs.
In action.
Even combining entities from a cybersecurity knowledge standpoint. I want, let's say if you're in a town and you're not, you don't know the school district. You should know each other's technology so you can jump in on either side and even take part in tabletop exercises where you sit down and you talk about what ifs. Outside of that, take advantage of free things from the state. But I think the biggest thing, I'm going to go back to the relationship. Just
Very
have that
important.
start the conversation.
Craig, would you wrap up your activities?
As far as for like the CALIA side, it's always ever changing. There's always new requirements, new standards. So that's always going to keep me busy. But ultimately, I know it's sometimes maybe a hindrance, but it's also going to be a helpful in the end. For the IT side of the house, I'm looking forward to keep working with the school because, I mean, there's always something that keeps me busy working. And working with these guys is always expanding our horizon.
New and exciting, always, always. Deputy Chief?
So it always boils down to the people. So we wouldn't have this great partnership, and we wouldn't be doing these great things and these new things if it wasn't for the people we have in place. Craig, Rob, Yark, Ryan, Mr. Nellens from the council, and everyone involved. I think if it wasn't for these key people and these great people that we have working on this project, this wouldn't occur. So.
Well, I sense there's a camaraderie, and the group gets together. When you have two groups that you put together, and they're like opposite or opposed magnets, bam, they push each other apart, and they don't want to get together because it's his fault or his fault, or I don't want to work with him, or he looked at me. It's you want to be able to have that partnership, and you have to have that relationship. And again, I think it's exciting with the IT, and there's so many things coming in. They do so many things. I mean, years ago in the squad car, you probably had a notepad and a pen.
We did.
And that's how you kept track of things, and you had to go back to the station to do your reports. Now we were talking with this AI and capturing some of the conversation and starting to get the basics put together on the reports. I think that's got to be huge, and that's got to help a lot.
Oh, yeah.
If efficiencies will go up, as long as we get them to figure out the back end of it, that's going to be the fun part. But
well, and it sounds like, and Rob, you have another half FT that works with you.
Yeah, it's a full-time FTE.
Full time,
dedicated
so
to
we
town.
got two full times.
Correct.
See, and they're there at the Town of Munster and handling all those things. So, well, I really want to thank you fellas for being here. To me, this was an exciting program. It's on cutting edge. We've got the opportunity to really make things good in our community. CALIA, I fully supported that when we first started talking about that, because you need someone to come in and look over your shoulder and say, yes, you are doing things that are usual and customary as to what you would see in a community.
Correct.
And these are the items that need to be done, and you're doing them. And same thing with IT. You need to have someone that's got a broader view, which Rob certainly sounds like he's got a very broad view, and that's going to help us in many, many ways. And our deputy chief here is many years in the police department and many years of doing things, so he also has a broad view. So I've tagged you three fellas as broad view individuals. So with that, I want to thank you very much. This is the end of the Town of Munster Show, and I appreciate you listening to us. So again, thank you very much, and thank you fellas for being here.
Thank you.
thank you, Mr.
All right.
These days,
Retiring from football means a lot of things for a guy like me. It means more time to pick up some hobbies, like baking, puzzles, and some gardening. It also means pinching pennies. And that's why I look for unclaimed property at indianaunclaimed.gov. Look, it's your money, and they want you to have it. So check indianaunclaimed.gov or text Jeff to 46220 and search now.